Hi guys, and welcome to 2018 Cat Teroscope and my review for 2018. This is a general review. I want to see all signs and I want to see what the general energy will be. So it's worth to mention that we are also entering a year number 11. 11s are very spiritual. Aquarius rules number 11. This is not to say that everybody reaches 11's potential. You see, in numerology we have 1 to 9, and then we have special numbers 11 and 22. These numbers are given mastery. They're given special abilities in achieving certain things. These abilities are not given because we were born in that. We have to really work hard throughout our lives to really deserve them. For example, most 11s are going to spend most of their life up to their, I would say, 40s or maybe even 50s, really baking their trade and being exposed to all kind of circumstances. In tarot, justice, strength, because these two cards are in tarot kind of changeable in different decks, are 11. However, I also associate the High Priestess with 11. She is represented with the Roman 2, which to me does look like 11. 11 is a number of illumination. So 1 is a leader. 1 is a leader of the leaders, but also 1 plus 1 is 2. So check it out. In 11 we have unity of leadership and softness. Hence 11s are trained to be healers all their lives. As you can imagine, I'm a number 11, and I'm telling you this from experience on my own skin. It took me really up to recently to really realize how things should be positioned, and yet I don't have all the answers. I am still continuing to work on them. So now as I was laying down these cards, as you have seen, and I did put them on a fast, we do have 11 that reappeared, or appeared rather to say, and we do have the Master, which is 22. We also have a 2 over here, and we also have 1 over here, and we also have 0, which is kind of like a baseline. So it is really confirming that numerological number 2, year number 2, which is also going to be really good year for everybody who is a number 2, because you see, we 11s will live most of our lives as number 2. Number 2 means that we have to learn how to cooperate with others, but not to suck up to them and not to give in to them. Learn how to have our own spine while still actually accomplishing our things. This is really hard, and I really believe that that was like the guiding principle behind the Greek what do you call it, councils, right? Because first of all, you had to be 45 to enter it, and then that was assumed that you have learned lessons on your own skin, and hence you'll be able to better kind of handle them. So the very first card that came out from Earth Magic Oracle cards is Autumnal Equinox. Autumnal Equinox. We say fall here in North America, and release. So let's call it Fall Equinox. So what do we really see here? It's kind of interesting because I kind of like aligned this and wanted to interpret this sort of like as per quarters as well as globally. But it was kind of really interesting. This was the very first card that appeared. And in many areas of the world, trees prepare for the winter and conserve their energy by contracting their life force, right? Which is they release their leaves, which have required the rays of the sun and nourishment from the earth in order to maintain robust growth and appearance. It is kind of like not a decision that trees will make, at least not in the usual sense, right? Instead, it's a natural response to the decreasing cycle of light that sets up the gradual and steady release of the tree's leaves. How remarkable it is that these trees, and actually for that matter, all of the Earth Mother's children, simply know what to do with the changes in climate. Don't you wonder how sometimes it would be so nice to be programmed and know how to do and when? Although this seasonal shift appears to be a death of sorts, it's only a preparation for the next cycle of life, one that we naturally follow the more extreme contraction of winter, as kind of an aspect of the life, death, rebirth cycle, right, that we find is represented in so many different ways. So, being the first card, and after shuffling, I kind of stopped this and I was thinking, okay, how do I put this together? So I think this is what it means. To start out the year, it's the time to let anything in our life fall away that is no longer useful or needed for the emerging expression of who you are. You see, let's go back to that number 11. I just told you, I had to live most of my life, and most of the time, I will live as a number 2. In order to live as number 11, you really have to figure out what is important. And 99% of the things will not be important. So this is also telling us, right, that we have to shed what has become burdensome and what no longer is congruent with our soul's purpose. We need to conserve our energy by allowing ourselves more rest, while at the same time making preparations for the following seasons. In this case will be winter season. So interestingly enough, the very first quarter here is a winter, and it's asking us to kind of let go, especially look in material possessions. What is the guys that you don't really need? Because number 11 is very altruistic. They are not motivated by money. Be really brutally honest with yourself, because you have to figure out what you can give away and what has to be released, right? This card also tells me that we should consider shedding relationships that possibly serve their purpose and they're no longer viable, as well as work or a job that maybe has become devoid of interest and passion. With release comes a sense of being much lighter. I guess just like these trees, and they're kind of like openly naked as their leaves kind of departed from them. Life is ready to birth following a period of being quiet and going through gestation. So let go of whatever has outlived its purposefulness, I would say, and trust that something else will take its place. So I always advise, clean your closets, clean your house, make a room for something else, because it's just not possible to add more things in a glass that is full. We all keep saying, oh, I want this, oh, I want that, but then where is the room to place this? You have to understand that physically and spiritually we kind of like react in a similar way. We have to have a space to kind of place this in. And my Cat Tarot people, you, yes you are here because you do want to become a better person. And you are a better person just by listening to this, just by doing the small changes. It takes so little to change this world. And together we can do it. It takes literally one person to actually start the motion. And I think we are moving in this direction because the second card was crystals and focus. One of my favorite cards, because my personal favorite color is purple. And this is an amethyst crystal cave that's sort of like bathing in the river or water. And also what I really like here are these kind of points of light, right? And this is kind of indicating that it has a spiritual and healing force. And the crystals do have this special, let's call it, magic, right? they have been used many years for decoration, but like in particular purple has been used by royalty and by clergy because it also had the higher purpose, which was to connect us with our purpose and who we are supposed to be and open up our psychic capabilities. So since the violet color is the same as the crown chakra, it has often been referred to as a spiritual stone. So the nature of quartz crystals, the second most common element in the Earth's crust, is they help focus the power of our life, force, or spirit. And where attention goes, power flows, and crystals magnify this power tenfold. Our intention influences where our attention goes. When we are consciously aware of our attention, it facilitates the focus of the spiritual power and also supports the manifestation in reality. So, if you only heard blah, 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 I get it. First of all, you're going to be provided a link, and it's a quick link to Amazon where you can get yourself an amethyst crystal. I highly advise you do that because it's simply a stone that makes you think, makes you wonder. Just by sitting in front of you, it's going to give you a direction. It's the stone that rules us instead of us ruling the stone. So this is telling me it is time to bring our complete focus to the subject that we really want. So of course we cannot put something new in the house unless we clean it. So we are starting with that motion, and then we are really thinking what we want. Whether this is a project, relationship, or simply a relaxing time that we want to spend walking in the nature, we have to kind of like realize that we need to be present for it. And we need to kind of like really release our wishes to the universe. So the crown chakra is the top chakra that kind of opens up. That's why people say love and light, because through crown chakra, through the spine, that light enters and helps us to kind of go in this direction that we want. And it has to be free. So you can get the circulation of light by actually, and connect to your karma, by actually having the small steps, as I'm telling you, by focusing and clearing it. This is actually going to help us have this crystal clarity, as they say, right? And be in the flow of life force and have actually become one with it. So then our wish is not going to be some wish, something that is somewhere else written, you know, or what they say, Dr. Phil, just write like, what you want and just like wait for it to happen. It doesn't work this way. You have to be realistic with yourself. You have to see what you cleared. You have to see what possible issues you had. Did you handle too many things at once? Do you need to kind of like focus on fewer things than usual? So guys, keep your eyes, ears, and heart focused on that what you need to pay attention to, and miracles can be created. I do wish you to focus on 2 or 3 things. And I do not advise to focus on, let's say, a person. I would focus on a concept. If this is love and spiritual union, I would say, I need to create that. This is my focus. Once when you go into, he has to be 6 feet tall, she has to be blonde, thin model, you're wasting the gifts that the universe can shower you. Because everybody gets what is perfect for us at the time for our learning lesson. Because we have these soulmates coming, but we also have a spiritual contract, or as I call it, the karma contract. You guys have all received a special offer for karmic contract to figure out what you can actually fix and what you can actually pay attention to, because it does help. For me, I wish I had that done for myself, because I kept repeating one mistake after another. I kept meeting the same person in a different body and repeating my mistakes until it finally, I had that tower moment and exploded in my face. And by the way, we do not have the tower the entire year. Isn't this awesome? So look at that. It kind of like makes sense that the next phase would be this rainbow. And isn't this something that we always, and I don't know which one of you doesn't stop in awe by seeing something so beautiful? So what is rainbow? It is created by the collaboration of sunlight and water in the atmosphere. You can do it yourself simply, right? By washing the car. So what happens? The water droplets become tiny prisms that collectively diffuse and disperse light onto a ribbon of colors, right? And then we see every hue that we are capable of seeing on this planet. So rainbows symbolize many things, right? Including good luck, bridge to heavens, and abundance. It is really difficult for any of us to ignore the majesty of rainbow, right? And this gentle power. It is like almost like gods are smiling at us. So when you see the rainbow, the storm has passed, and it is time to enjoy the refreshing beauty of this cycle. Maybe even if times have been difficult, even if clearance of things basically wanted us to kind of deal with, things that maybe we didn't want to deal. If we did that, we are going to be rewarded, right? Don't just look at, quote unquote, the brighter side, because this is called also blessings. Don't try to adhere to some, academic mantra that has no heart and has no depth. I hear people repeating their positive affirmations. Let me tell you, it doesn't work. So instead, show your genuine gratitude in words and in deeds to the other people. This ever-evolving process of life itself is a blessing, and it is an opportunity to exist as a human being on Earth. Our planet is truly a beautiful garden. Let's keep it. We are so close to destruction, guys. Do you know that not a single psychic, not a single, as they call them, eye-seers, see this planet past year 2100? Most of us are parents. We would like our children to have their children and so on and so forth. But it is on us and upon us to kind of give love to the planet, because planet was giving this love to us all along. So even though, as I said, this planet is possibly a really beautiful garden, maybe sometimes doesn't appear to be so. Sometimes all we see is wars and issues, right? Now keep thinking about the blessings. And as far as blessings, I want you to bless your difficult or even painful experiences and let them go. I think this is sort of a second call. And then new things will happen. The very last card here that I have is a new moon. And I love this new moon because it comes with this like such a loving couple gazing the romantic sunset. So it is a time for the new beginning. 11 year after all is going to help all of you who are willing to be light workers. Yeah, and this is what makes my channel different. I don't just give you some quick get together, or he's going to leave you, he's going to come back and not to come back. Yes, you get that part as well. But this is the key part, because we are an army of do-gooders. We are an army of people who can actually move us forward. And for those of you who do really want to do that, it's a promise that we are going in this direction. So whether this is to help others, to go to the higher realm, to launch a project, a new relationship, or a new something that kind of has been tucked away for a later date, this is the time. We did set intention. We did kind of give our blessings. And now it is a time to emerge. And anything that has been in the dark, maybe some of us wonder, will this ever happen? Rest assured, do this job, do this work that I have asked you to do, and it will happen. The next step, this step as a new moon, is to put into action what is required to fully realize this idea. Because as you know, moon has the phases, right? It initiates another lunar circle, right? It's moving from darkness to fullness and then back again over approximately 1 month. I don't know, it's like 28.5 to 29 days. The promise is that the moon is going to be there, right? As long as the moon exists. So whatever the new project is, it has to be done on healthy grounds, because obviously we have been asked so many times over this year to do it. This is number 11. I told you, number 11 is not an easy number, but it gives you numerous rewards if you're willing to do the work. You will not believe the red carpet treatment. And it is just like that. You're going to say, oh my gosh, I'm rewarded for who I am, for just being nice to people. So this card promise has two meanings. It can be a commitment and guarantee to yourself or someone else that a particular thing will happen, or it can imply that something specific is expected to happen. When you align your will with the will of spirit, and when you focus upon what you wish to have happen, then this promise will be kept. So I was going into so many details about these 4 cards because as I noticed this waterfall down in the other decks, it kind of like summarized really succinctly really the rest of the story. So let me explain. Look at this. In the other cards, what do we have? In tarot, we have major arcana and minor arcana. There is a huge difference. Arcana means secrets. And those are those universal secrets that we are here to actually go and get through the dark and get into the light and kind of like move into the better life. Third eye chakra came out. The crystals came out. That message repeated. And so did the solar plexus chakra, which is the center, which kind of regulates both our connection with the other people and our ability to give the confidence, as well as our comfort with that we can handle daily tasks. So we have transformation, we have awareness, we have balance, we have trust, we have completion, and we have the master. I have to tell you, I am so beyond impressed what kind of cards we have. So let me give you sort of like a little information about the first quarter. The first quarter is going to be some kind of transformation. So in the other decks, this card is called Death card. And that card with itself carries that mission. Sort of like it can be very ominous, kind of like and strange and harsh, but can also be a beginning of a new phase, such as death of pregnancy is the beginning of a child. So hence it's kind of very joyful occasion, right? So it's asking us to release what doesn't work and actually see what we can do differently. Because remember, if you keep doing the same things over and over, we cannot expect different results. It's also asking us to kind of like attend to new vitality. Look at that. This is also a purple card. And I don't know if you can see it with the sliding, but again, it's connecting to this like 2 chakra sort of like focuses that we need to have, telling me, and there is this rainbow motive again, telling me that maybe if we need to kind of go to a new fitness routine, or if we want to exercise, we kind of have to kind of like realize what we neglected, because it's reversed. And so is this card. Awareness reversed, again, look at that. It's again telling us about this crown chakra. Again, it's telling us about the magic and about certain things that we should be able to connect and to create. So when awareness is reversed, just like new vitality, this is kind of telling me that some of us are not really aware, and maybe we have been going through some kind of suffering. And suffering is very much like stale water, right? When you drink water, everything seems to be okay. Leave it in a glass, it's going to get icky and yucky. So we need to kind of at least kind of acknowledge what we need to release in order to know how to transform. And then we are giving the tools how to do that. And creator here is basically the Zen master. Look what he has. He has the solar plexus chakra, right? So this card invites us to basically recognize and participate in understanding that, you know, everybody who mastered this kind of fires, the solar plexus, these are the fires of passion, right? This is the person who is able to kind of create a better thing for themselves and for everybody else. Because as you know, without fire, it will be hard to survive. And sometimes also fire can go out of control. So it has to be integrated, that there is no longer any difference between who this person is inside or who we are inside and in the world outside. So that's generally the gift of understanding and integration, right? So the gift of light that I was telling you about. So this is King of Fire or King of Wands, that tells us that anything that we undertake now with the understanding that all that we want to undertake, what has to come from maturity, will bring enrichment to our own lives and to the lives of others. Using whatever skills you have, whatever you have learned from your own life experience, it is a time to express yourself. So this card here tells me that must be some kind of hidden masterpiece inside of you guys. Maybe it was on a back burner. Maybe you were told you cannot create it. Because this is generally in the other decks called a magician, who can create anything. And then it's saying, oh no, I cannot do it. Maybe we convinced ourselves we cannot do it. Maybe others convinced us that we cannot do it. But this is telling us, yes, you can. You're carrying a masterpiece hidden within you, but you're standing in a way. So just move aside and the masterpiece will be revealed, right? So everyone is a masterpiece, because God never gives birth to anything less than that. Everyone carries that masterpiece hidden from many lives, not knowing who they are and just trying on the surface to become someone. So how to do it? Drop the idea of becoming someone, because you already are that masterpiece. You cannot be improved. You have only to come to it, to know, to realize it. So it is understanding that what you are bringing to the table is important, and that what you're bringing to the table should be honored, that what you're bringing to the table should be respected. It is how we do it, how we say it. And I would say for some of you, that will be also some people that we possibly need to get rid of. People, relationships, and stuff. Oh my gosh, especially if you live in North America or Europe, or I would say Australia, sort of like the first world countries, I would say, we have so much stuff. And there are so many people who don't have them. So guys, let's transform. Let's see what is important. In the second quarter, when we need to focus, we will be challenged. And this is what happens with number 11. And we have this balance. Any imbalance is going to be corrected. Look at that. We have the circular motion here yet again, right? So it's like 3-4 times that we have it here. So we kind of like have to realize that we probably already have everything we need to have. And Nine of Fire is talking about a strategy. Here is talking about focus, the spiritual growth. But hey, just because we focus and sit in front of the fireplace and we want the soulmate to arrive, hey, unless we do something, unless we, let's say, get ourselves in shape, kind of create the profile, go and meet other people, it's not going to happen. So this is talking about some kind of strategy, some kind of like creation of it, even though maybe that didn't work in the past. And I think this is why this came back, saying maybe certain things didn't look in the past, but maybe just a small shift in a different direction will actually bring us to different results. This is not all about just winning and losing, right? This is about the heart. This is about what is the good for us. Especially this applies to people who are in some kind of like 3 people situation. Resolve it. Do you know how? Get out of it. It's as simple as that. Nobody needs to suffer. This definitely card says that there is suffering that is kind of included. So it's asking you to transform out of that suffering. You are right to demand the truth, because look at that. She's steering it. She's demanding the truth. She wants to let this light in, right? She wants to ground herself. And it is not all about the victory, but I think this card in here is saying that we have to redefine it. This victory should be about ourselves. This card here, again, is basically what happens when we don't know how to balance things properly. When, you know, we forget that our mind is meant to be a servant, and we allow our mind to run our lives. Look at this head. It's filled with all kinds of mechanisms, and this mouth is ranting and raving, right? And the whole surrounding atmosphere is kind of being polluted, as you can see. But this I don't know, what is this? Factory, I guess, chimneys, but it's probably talking about factory of arguments and opinions. I don't know how often you guys to go to Facebook, Instagram, television, chat rooms. Everybody has their own 2 cents, and everybody has to have a snarky, smart comments, because simply we feel in a world that is kind of like really intruding upon of us. But also, we partially are responsible for ourselves, right? Some of us can say, hey, wait, the mind is what makes us human. It's the source of all progress. It's the source of all truths. It's like what makes humans better than anybody else. Well, if you believe that, try an experiment. Go into your room, shut the door, turn on a tape recorder, and give yourself total permission to say whatever it is, quote unquote, on your mind. If you really allow it to all come out without any censorship or editing, you'll be amazed at the amount of rubbish that comes out of our mouths, right? So this is the Page of Clouds, or Page of Swords. And it's telling us that somebody somewhere is stuck in a head or in a head trip. So take a good look and make sure this isn't you. If you're guys dealing with somebody like that, who is trying to force some kind of control or their vision of truth, because these 3 cards are very kind of like mind cards. These are air cards. Look at this. Air, 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 air. So to me, what is amazing about that is that the lots of, from the first 6 months, will be in the realm of thinking. So this is going to be very, very important to address, that we don't overthink, that we actually have to go with emotional response, where we already know where we don't feel right, and simply figure out what better ways we can go about it. Maybe what is the better partner for us, and what is the better situation for us. Seeking the truth, I more or less see what is the truth for us. I think these 2 faces, these 2 minds, are our mind, because sometimes we think one way and then somebody else convinces us into something else. Nothing wrong about that. It is okay to change your mind. Now, this is the card that tells you that sometimes people can be sneaky, and if you really know who you are, and knowing who you are is coming from our solar plexus, so I would advise solar plexus chakra exercises, sitting in the sun, that kind of things, because you see, she's kind of letting that thing come through. Then we would know if somebody is telling us the truth, if this is also our truth. And if it isn't, we are just going to let go of that. So this is not about winning against somebody, but it's, again, I reiterate, winning ourselves, because we will be so close to completing that journey, to kind of putting this last puzzle in who we want to be, that it's going to be almost like you can almost touch it, you can almost feel it, and yet it's going to be some kind of wall, because this card came reversed. We will still need to put the final touches, because to become a number 11, to live number 11, you're always and always and always being challenged. You're always being thrown something else. So just don't say, oh, well, I did this easy exercise and something else happened and now I don't want to do it. This is what kind of year is going to be. Huge benefits, but going to be lots of work. You cannot give up, because the completion is very near. This like Mona Lisa smile, this everything is right here. We cannot go back, guys. We can only go forward. And I wish that all of us go forward in a much better us. So this is the last call for us to walk away from things that don't work. Look, is this kind of chest of money or old memories or something that we have accumulated with somebody so important if somebody is not treating us right? Did you ever ask yourself, is there something else out there better for you? Did you ever ask yourself if you trust yourself and if you want something better? Did you ever ask yourself why you haven't done certain things? Why didn't you open your arms and fly? Trust reversed, or the Fool card reversed, tells me that maybe there is still a concept that has been lost on us, even in the third quarter of the 2018. Remember, you can only go to third eye chakra if you conquer all the other chakras. In particular, two of them will be very prominent. Also, what I find interestingly is like these two colors are also opposing colors on the spectrum. So 11 means, as I told you, there are two ones, leaders of the leaders, but also a very feminine principle. This is kind of very difficult, meaning you can say very, very harsh words to someone. It is how you say it. And it is to say it really, with real intention to help them and them understanding that this is what you're doing. But rewards, guys, are astonishing, right? Not only do we have this spiritual union, but we also have this Master card. So what is the spiritual union, guys? This is a soulmate card, but not kind of like any cheesy soulmate card. This is like a really, really good one. This is like when you kind of look at this again in the third eye, you connect with someone. For those of you who did your work, who didn't kind of tuck things away, just continue things the same old, those of you will be actually uniting with somebody. Maybe you already have a relationship that has been suffering. Maybe some of us will have this relationship that was more or less based on somebody always upping us one, or somebody always needing to look better or needing to be admired, or we felt that somebody's taking away maybe our peace of mind, maybe money. But we have been working all year long to shed this, to get to this union. And guess what? Number 22. We have mastered it. So the master is Zen, is not a master over others, but the master of himself. And I don't know if you can see it, this also is a purple card. So his every gesture and his every word reflect his enlightened state. So as I told you, he has no private goals, right? So he has no desire that anything should be other than the way it is. His disciples basically gather around him, not to follow him, but simply to soak up the presence and be inspired, simply to learn. This is somebody who who doesn't do things because he thinks he has to create something. It's somebody who just really enjoys, and he kind of doesn't mind sharing what he or she has. If you guys find such a master, somebody who can help you along your path, who can guide you, you're going to come to that spot yourself really, really fast, and you'll be blessed. If you can't, keep on searching, because by the end of the year, you're supposed to get there. So keep on moving, guys. So 2018, I actually pulled one more card, which I haven't shuffled in front of everybody, but it's this one. Oops. Loyal Heart. And I'm going to read to you what it says. It has a number of layered messages, and I really like to see two owls, right? Two owls represents wisdom, but in this case represents the heart. So it says this: evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. By the way, Aquarians and number 11 is known for loyalty. And if you're telling me, oh my gosh, Kat, what are you talking about? I know this Aquarius and he or she cheated on me. Yeah, that's a number 2. That's a very beginning existence, because they were supposed to spread their wings and fly. They still haven't reached it. But this is for other people who did their work, right? So altogether, this year is going to have this flavor that others will prove faithful to us, and we will in turn be able to fully commit to them. So there is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you. No matter the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected and divinely directed. For the relationship, it says, your partnership, friendships, and romantic relationships will have many qualities in common right now. Honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. Prosperity message. Your long-term loyalty to your goals is becoming evident in the world of conditions, where your aspirations for success assume form in reality. Success is finally taking shape. If you are loyal to your dreams, faithful to your plans, while remaining flexible and devoted to serving others, you will be shown proof of your true prosperity. This is a time for a joyful celebration of Spirit and manifesting a partner. And lastly, we also get protection message. Are you stubborn, or are you overly tenacious about an idea? Or have you become so attached to something that you just don't know how to let it go? Could it be that it's become so much a part of you that you don't want to know, or you wouldn't know who you are without it? Now it is time to look at outdated beliefs, old ideas, and misplaced loyalties. Betrayal is only a signal that it is time to prune away all who don't deserve your trust and have no place in your life. Be new, think new, and open your heart to new things. Let go of the old and all your attachments. Spirit has awesome plans for you. Make some room. So guys, as you can see, this talks about betrayal. It's talking about that maybe we have been betrayed, and maybe we are betraying ourselves. This is asking us to let go of the past. This is asking us that if something is out of balance, because this is a karmic number and it is a number 11, that things eventually will be in balance. We eventually will have this trust. We eventually will open our arms, and things will come. Things will come. We need to kind of get the strength in who we are, what we want, and then walk away from things that are not important, that no longer serve us. Let bygones be bygones, and get rid of the people who upset you. And if you spend time being upset or mulling over certain issues, it's not going to serve the purpose. The best cause of action, put its finishing touches and say, hey, Thank you. Thank you for being a part of my journey. It is time for me to move on. And I'm moving on because I'm becoming the master. I do love you. However, my love has to be given to somebody else at this point. So thank you guys for this general introduction. Now we are going to go in particular signs. Hi Pisces, and welcome to your 2018 annual forecast. This is going to be awesome. We just actually finished the journal part, so we all kind of like have this like underlying current, underlying energy, which is going to be 11. We really have to strive to be best that we can be. Now I'm going to give you additional energies that are very specific to Pisces sign. And right off the bat, I can see there's going to be power struggles, control issues, but let me backtrack. The very first card you guys got was Milky Way, and this is basically called perspective. You see, the Milky Way is basically most likely one of billions of galaxies, not planets, galaxies in the universe that we know. It's approximately containing anywhere between 200 and 400 billion stars, and the one that we are most familiar with is the sun, and another one that we probably heard of is Sirius, right? So it looks like that we kind of like did manage to discover that some stars in the system are basically as probably old as universe itself. It is like really wonderful card, because when we get here, it is like really hard not to think that we have to put things in perspective. Maybe you guys, you have lost your perspective. Maybe you went on your dreamy ways. So this is time to step back, breathe, and allow yourself to detach in order to basically gather information to kind of like understand your situation fully, right? So it is like a sort of a detachment that I'm suggesting you do. I know like you kind of like really like to engage with things and feel them and kind of like a river run through it. So don't worry, detachment doesn't mean that you no longer care. It simply indicates that you're looking at things from a different point of view. It is kind of like an outlook that is not clouded by emotions, that is not applicable with any judgment on it. It is simply our non-reactive awareness of these things. So just be witness to you, to whatever you're going through, whatever is physical, emotional, or mental, and don't deny anything. By doing so, you will come to understand a greater perspective that is typically justified by ego. You know, sometimes we do things and we just say to ourselves, we have to do it because it's our pay, whatever, right? But now allow yourself to get clear vision and allow yourself to fully open your mind. Because what you guys having here next is kind of like really interesting. You have the patience and also you have control, both major arcanas. Okay, so what happens when you get major arcanas? When you get majors, this is like God's messages. God is saying, hey, you gotta do this. I don't really care what else you plan to do, but you gotta do that. Also, you did get crown chakra. This is telling me a lot. This is telling me that you're on a much higher level of development than many people did get crown chakra combined with base chakra, but you didn't get base chakra. This means that the energy, you know what we say, love and light. Well, this is definitely light, and this is definitely lots of love that is shooting from you. Hi, Seffi. Love Pisces? Huh? So this, getting this card is like really telling me that you cleanse yourself from lots of burdens. You're really, really working well toward getting there. So there are still some kind of issues. So it's asking for patience. It's asking to reconcile possibly two different aspects of yourself. Maybe you want to be both soft and aggressive. This is not to say that this kind of merge is not possible, because from all cards, this is the card that talks about that alchemy. This is the card that says, yay, you can go ahead. Yay, you can do that, right? But it's asking patience. And patience is needed for the right person in the right place in the right time. Like, you know, for all the stars to align, for something to come our way. So I think this first quarter, because I have divided this also per quarters, you're going to spend lots of time contemplating, but also trying to mend things, mend different corners, mend different issues. Now you're having this card control reversed, and you have another 8 over here, which is in this deck called power reversed. This are just different interpretation of the strength. Right? The strength is generally talking about us dealing with our animalistic instincts when you want to tell somebody off, when instead of like, you know, being a sage and kind of like thinking through it, going deep inside of yourself and connecting with this heart, you just kind of bark out certain things. So it's asking sort of like to humanize our actions. So when strength card appears reversed in a reading, it tells you to stay strong and courageous. Otherwise, you might lose your resolve and things will not go as envisioned, right? It also can indicate somebody who is possibly overbearing, somebody who might even have domineering attitude, you know? It could be somebody who is upsetting your proceedings. Maybe you're having some legal issues, maybe you're having some discord with your children. So the presence of the strength card kind of like talks about some form of disharmony that is kind of like leaving somebody bitter, right? So it tells me that if you truly believe that you're in the right, be firm and proceed with your plans regardless of opposition of others. Also, for some of you, this may indicate that maybe you're dealing with an individual who really doesn't want to commit, because sometimes it talks about succumbing to weakness and temptations, right? It tells for somebody who is always looking somebody else to support them, always needs something from somebody else, and is like not standing fully on their own 2 feet, right? Be very careful if this is you, that maybe you are inclined toward vanity and uncontrollable lust. But this is definitely, I will stress out, talking about needing to build inner strength. It indicates to me lack of self-belief and maybe feelings of powerlessness. I really hope that you guys are not being, let's say, physically or emotionally abused. And even if that's the unfortunate case, that you're going to start reversing these cards to their kind of like really truly upward meanings, that you can actually start receiving all the support and self-discipline that is needed to kind of get out of like very unhappy situation. Be very careful if you are stubborn or if you are domineering, because this is not going to serve you, because this is exactly the opposite of what this temperance patience card says. You know, reality must be faced, guys. And I know that you guys are huge dreamers, and I even see it here, because here is like Queen of Cups appearing reversed as well. They are 3 beautiful cards. Of course, it will be beautiful if they are all upright. Now this is telling you, simply be patient. You're going to get there. You still have to work on balancing different things, right? Because you see, this is balancing that inner resolve. This is balancing building yourself and being able to resist others. When they come on you, you don't cave in. And this is also asking not to lose that sense of touch, that sensitivity and receptivity, because you see this lotus flower here opening and giving everything to everybody, and this kind of like really explains you really, really nicely, Pisces, because like there is like new birth behind us. So you really need to be patient and work under the surface to kind of like remedy these few things, because it tells me the process is already on its way, because in the second quarter you're getting to full moon and the completion. So even though this particular card talks about every like 28 or 29 and a half days that we have this like a moon cycle, right? So of course, we are really connected to the moon, like we know about, female cycles, and we know about animals kind of like really becoming really more aggressive. So this is telling me, for you, however, Pisces, that you can take pleasure in knowing whatever you have been working toward, it's actually reached its culmination. Maybe it was maybe a brief cycle of something that you have been through, or maybe it could be something that has been culminating for quite a while. So enjoy it. We're talking April, May, and June. Kind of let yourself feel this accomplishment. Like it's like when you take a deep breath and reach a point when your lungs are pleasantly full and your body is ready to release that breath, right? It's really important for you guys, because you put other people in front of you. So learn how to exhale slowly, because this is your moment. This is kind of like a natural cycle of release that follows a point of resolution. So give yourself time to relax and rest before tackling kind of like next assignment. And we can absolutely see it here, because you have here partnership and alliances, but also you have rest and reconsider, right? So this is just basically saying you kind of like realizing how, getting other people to your cause is not as easy as it appears, right? We sometimes need to stop and kind of rest and kind of realize what we really want, in which direction we really want to go. Sometimes people create us considerable anxiety, right? So you maybe will kind of like get away from some kind of issues that have been bothering you. And this is maybe, as I can see this trajectory on your strength, some people have been eroding your strength, and you are just about to happen in rebirth. This is like, I think, Friedrich Nietzsche kind of like statement about, thus spoke Zarathustra. So it's the story about the camel, the lion, and the child, right? So camel seems to be so self-absorbed, and it starts to think, hey, I am a mountain, nobody can move me. But then, lion gets born out of it, because it starts roaring, I'm not going anywhere forward. It starts to be rebellious, right? So this kind of comes out of the personality that kind of like is not really fully evolved. But this is not the final stage. We sometimes do get angry, and this kind of like, I think you will go through that stage, because things will start getting to you. You will feel that some people are undermining your accomplishment, and then finally you're reaching the stage of innocence. You have nothing to prove. You're simply up, light, and playful. Because I'm actually seeing these cards, I'm just like seeing how they actually came out, but I'm reading to you like sort of like the entire full meaning of a card. So the second quarter, guys, while you're going to be on top of the world, you will maybe be on top of the world, because you will shed people and things and situations that don't work, because this whole patience requires the stars to align, and almost like you're going to have like this focus this year that you really want to go and get there. Now you have in the third quarter, like your sensitivity is coming back full force, because this talks about earth magic. Fairies is not necessarily that you're going to see angels or stuff flying around you, but you guys will start getting psychic messages. You are going to be hearing, like you might get a dream that is going to translate to something that you need to do. It's going to be a lots of completion, or maybe even messages around the people around you. They might not be exactly the people in your dreams, but they will be the people who will be telling you different sorts of messages. So it would be really, really good to kind of pay attention. I, for example, get a whole bunch of pennies around the corners of my room. We don't have pennies in Canada. We discontinued them a long time ago. When we go to stores, we kind of circle them up to the next 0.5 cents. But I still see these pennies, and pennies are usually messages from the above. Also the electronic message, because we electrical body, it's really easy for us to speak on that level. But also, if you just like lie down in nature and see what kind of animals come out of curiosity to you, because after all, we are really connected. It is kind of like really important to understand that. And this is the same message, kind of like really work on both on yours and of the other people dominating attitude, because it's saying choose your battles, right? You're having this kind of understanding that you cannot win them all. And sometimes we get to the point and stage and say, you know, life is too short. I maybe would win this one, but you know what? I'm not going to engage, right? So sort of like this is that expression they say, cut your losses and understand what is important in your life. And this is like what you have probably start to work by putting in perspective, like what is that you want to accomplish, because it is really hard to kind of like turn other people around. We kind of like have this perpetual maybe blinders on sometimes, and until really blinks danger, we don't kind of like go and embrace all the other circumstances, even if you really want, and even if you're really dedicated. Now at this stage you're going to start ramping up, because your slowing down card has been reversed. So you will most likely start doing things that are completely out of your element. You will be studious about things, especially if you need to put your finances in order. You will try to kind of get books and readings and see how other people do it, and what is the best way, how to diversify. It's going to be really important, like you're going to get this like newfound abilities to kind of go through it. And it's kind of like looks like that every stage you're firming something up. You're firming here basically your emotions, which is like that you are most comfortable with, and you're not going to allow people to control you anymore. While in the second quarter, you're kind of like really saying, well, who is on board here, who is not on board here, who is here for me, who is not here for me. If you had people who have hurt you, you're going to let them go, because it looks to me this is a final case of disconnecting. And the reason why this is happening is you actually really don't want to keep them in your head, because the head can create so many more problems than heart. Heart feels it or doesn't feel it, but the head can kind of like regurgitate the same things over and over again, kind of like what they call them wash machine brain, because like you keep going all the time. What he thinks about me, does she love me, is this going to happen, why? And then we're trying to answer this. The result is like nothing, just anxiety. We have to understand that sometimes there are no answers to these questions. Sometimes things just they are. Because even if sometimes we are faced with our own boo-boos, we are sometimes shocked to say, I truly don't know why I did it. And now, this is kind of rarity for you Pisces, because usually you're so sweet, but volcano is brewing. So this Pele is the goddess who lives on the big island of Hawaii. She's dwelling there in the craters of the active volcano Kilauea. She's considered basically passionate, volatile, and capricious, and perhaps the best known of all the Hawaiian deities, right? So since I think 1983, she's sending this like ribbons of lava, like going to this like mountain side into the sea, and creating new land, right? So in this image we see her subtle visage that is spewing this fire of this volcano, right? So this is going to be a volatile quarter for you guys. I guess there is like no ways to sugarcoat this one. So unexpected changes, sometimes quite sudden, sometimes quite dramatic. Think about Tower in tarot, right? So be very careful not to be in the way of this lava. And if this is who need to kind of blow the top, well, so be it. It's going to happen, so you will need to rebuild, right? So these occurrences sometimes are so powerful because they shake everything up, everything that we know, maybe what we thought as foundations of our security. This may even cause us to assess the direction of where your life is taking you. What about your relationships, to even reevaluate the work that you are choosing, right? So although the events that can happen may rock your world, know the guiding force is behind them, and you have to go back on your path. And I can talk about this Tower moment a lot to you because I'm living this Tower moment for almost like 5 years. And it was this path that I had to take. And it was then that it stopped. I could not understand the messages because I was doing everything right. Going to school, getting a job, getting employment, and things would be happening to push me out of that path where I wanted to be. And this was the path for me. So something like this might be happening to you. It's going to be pushing you back to where you're supposed to be. This is also asking you to make adjustments quickly and not to cling to what was, but instead move forward and just welcome everything that can come to you with arms wide open. You know, everything that is like yet to come, it's something that is going to be very beneficial for you. There is, guys, nothing to fear. And you might feel a little bit nostalgic. It might be talking about somebody who you loved, because this does talk about this melancholy. It does talk about these butterflies in the stomach. But fret not, you guys are moving to the next stage. This is basically the last phase of letting go. You know, we go through stages, especially if you're shedding somebody you broke up with, or if you're shedding something that in your life you were very unhappy. You are kind of like really literal. I can see the line drawn over here. You're kind of like pushing things in a new direction. So make sure that you select what is important, what is not important. Don't engage in little kind of petty squabbles, because this is awaiting for you joy and stability. And you guys are like actually on the path to flower. This again, look, again you have this like flower, the lotus opening up for you, right? Look at this. You have like these two beautiful queens. They're like two very productive queens, like because you are a water sign moving up to earth, right? So this lotus that comes from the mud is slowly coming to the surface, and when it comes to the surface it flourishes. So for you, both of these cards were reversed because it's telling me that you need to work on all stabilizing yourself, calling your strength, calling your power, putting your foot down, choosing your battles, and knowing how to push away people who maybe kind of like have their own agenda, but they don't have your agenda, like kind of any importance to them. So sometimes people just want what they want. So the moment when you turn around this strength, the moment when you assert yourself, the moment when you kind of let go this old things, literally moving on, and this is all done via patience, this is turning around. And this is turning around. So you're like rebelling. Maybe you're going to go through the stages, and that's why I see the anger is going to get rebelliousness at some point, and then finally you're getting to this innocence, joy, and stability, and this beautiful moment when you're really feeling, if you're a woman, additional amount of feminine. This is somebody who is a wife who is very pragmatic. So if you are planning to marry, if you wanted to marry, but somebody there is rejecting you, which could happen in the first quarter, that you might get rejected by someone, trust me, this was not the path for you, because they say rejection is God's protection. You really need to work on you, because it looks like you're dealing with this non-commitment issues. This could be yours or it could be somebody else's. But I think I think it's somebody else that you're kind of expecting that happiness from somebody else, and you're fighting for it. You're trying to be super sweet and super nice, and finally there's like no basically beauty left in you. When maybe other person squishes everything out of you, you just like go wow, like this volcano explodes. But that's going to be this release. It's going to really open up your crown chakra. This is when it's going to happen, because you guys tend to kind of like put things inside. You kind of bottle things up, and by doing that you're also suppressing this light to come out, and it's going to come out. It might take a little bit longer for you, but it's not easy to build this like power inside of you. This is one of these really biggest lessons that you actually can do in tarot. It's one of the bigger life paths, right? Because the strength card is symbolic of that inner strength and determination to overcome obstacles, and self-knowledge and self-discipline. And only when we know ourselves and act in a responsible manner are we able to deal effectively with challenging situations, right? So this doesn't represent physical strength, so never mind lifting weights, right? This is like moral and emotional strength. And you know what? We really need more of that in this world. You will become a person with fortitude, and that is going to carry you throughout life. It's going to be one of those beautiful skills that you learn and you never lose it, just like riding a bike, right? So it's going to kind of like bring this higher and lower consciousness in perfect balance. This is the balance card as well, and this is why your crown chakra is opening up. Remember always that in order to do this, it takes great strength, and that strength is yours through eternity, right? This also in the matters of love, because looks like you might be going through some turmoil in here, but you might end up getting married by the end of the year. So going first down, all the way down, and then all the way up, it's going to take you guys to let out all the garbage. You have to take the trash out, right? Because strength states that the inner qualities of love, patience, and gentleness are far superior to material power or brute force or hatred, right? And this is basically the entire mission is self-discovery, and that's a spiritual adventure. So we become vulnerable when we allow others to take advantage of us. You guys tend to be super sensitized to that because you're like overly nice, right? So just do your work. Like this might be a little bit of inner work, going deeper, but it's going to make you strong and resilient. So the message of basically this introduction that I have, that Safi helped and messed everything up, I guess, is like strength is not a force with which to exert power over others, but the force to stop others exerting power over you, Pisces. So let's go through the houses and see what do we see in different segments of your life and where this in particular have to be applied. Oh boy, you see, like this love fest that I have, just wanted to show you. So now she actually picked one card as well that came over here, and I'm going to take it in consideration. The second one also wanted to come out, so I'm going to take this one as well. So guys, I am reading here astrological houses, and this is starting house number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 houses. The very first house is basically representing I am house, awareness of who we are, appearance, and outward personality. Remember how I said you might get married in the end? So you're going to actually be spending time reevaluating who you really are. So I can see through these houses as well, totally the messages you have been getting there. So you kind of like are going to become very down to earth, very grounded. You're not going to be very flashy. You're going to kind of like really feature down to earth look, more or less kind of like earth colors, but it could be also touch of green and touch of pink, because this, and actually for you, this particular year could be a touch of purple. So Queen of Pentacles is somebody who is very resourceful, is somebody who is like really finding her destination in life, to be married, to have children, to give, to kind of be a community organizer. It is absolutely lovely role. So you might kind of like ground yourself a little bit. So even though like your water, you kind of go with the flow, but this is going to get a little bit more structured for you, because the earth is a little bit higher element than you are. So this means raising your energy. But when it comes to money, possessions, values, and skills, you are going to find love. And this is not necessarily love of money, but you're going to finally kind of like become on hey with the issues that you maybe had. It's going to be something that you can embrace, and maybe you're going to start like new courses, kind of like dealing with budgets, dealing with issues. But I also think this is going to be a part, because sometimes I do read houses, but also cards sometimes together tell a story. And boy, I am really seeing a big story over here. It is a partially repeat of what I've seen there, but at least I can specify you in which house is going to be relief and which house needs more work. The third house here is the house of mental activity, learning, siblings, and communication. And just like in the third quarter, like it showed, like you need rest, you will probably need rest from all of that. You will need to pull the plug on a whole bunch of things, right? So maybe you're going to just become, not to return the call, not because you just like hate everything, but just simply because, you know, you're just going to be absolutely exhausted. So count on this. This is going to be maybe something you need to train yourself to kind of go through it and do it kind of like properly. Now you're getting to the house number 4, which is home, parents, roots, and inner security, right? So here, there's like some walls are up. Maybe you are, maybe this is kind of one of those push and pull areas, because I definitely see that these two houses and the house number 12, the house of solitude and secrets and self-sabotage, are going to be the houses that you really need to do lots of work. And that work is going to be like sort of like alternating in between taking some rest and kind of trying to figure out what yet needs to be done, right? Maybe put a little bit fire under your feet. Sometimes, you know, I did see that also in the third quarter, that you're going to start like ramping up your speed, and be very careful, because you want to accomplish something. This is a person or somebody who maybe, he's not necessarily insecure, but you see, he has these walls around him. The solutions are behind him. He doesn't even see the solution because he has this fire under his feet. He literally has to get out. This is what this message is. You need to get out. You need to get solutions. So sharing, integrating with the others, dealing with earthy issues is going to be really something that you need to do, because you have both fours, and this one is a spiritual, and this one is like sort of like this 3D, where we kind of like need to kind of take a grip of certain issues that we have to deal with. So if you did build your walls, and I did see in this card that you did, and it looks like it could be about something domestic that you have been affected. Maybe there was like a drain of money. Maybe somebody just left you out in the cold. Because I think that this is really reflecting to maybe past bad experiences with relationship. Right here we have this house number 5, which is supposed to be romance and children and fun and creativity. So somehow this is underperforming for you. And you know why? You do know why. You need to assert yourself. You need to work on that strength that we have seen that. You need to make people stop pushing you, and not by telling them what to do, by simply telling you what you're not going to accept, right? So here it's literally for this person to turn around, and you can still feel sorry for yourself, but being in a warm place and having those rich coats. So you might have built walls because of something that has happened. This is, however, not something that this is pushing you through from your trajectory. You are still in a trajectory. You're still on this trajectory where you do want to fall in love, where you do want this like rainbows and unicorns and babies and this embrace. If somebody did let you down, then, you know, this is going to be a low point in the relationship this year. And this, I see, is the lowest point, which kind of really needs to be worked on. Because by working on this point, you're really getting ahead. The house number 6 is talking about daily life, work, health, service, and self-improvement. And look, you're somehow going to figure out what you want, right? Like you have this cups in here, cups, and they're like really shining through. This is like from, oh my gosh, I don't know what I want. I'm here walking in the swamp, getting to, I don't care. It was all worth it. I found this. So out of nowhere, guys, somebody might appear. It might be through volunteer work. It might be through your work that you will meet somebody, or somebody is going to push you and help you with getting that strength that you really, really need. So this is also telling me that you are simply going to wake up. As we saw it, like part of the year is not going to be super rosy and super happy, but you are simply going to get it. You're going to click it. And remember how we had this volcano? Well, this is what it is. This is your house number 7, the house of a partner, marriage, and other partnerships. So we have this King of Swords, who generally, albeit he's not too emotional, he's really fair. He wants to get things forward. He's kind of always trying to balance 2 different issues and what's right, what's wrong. But here, check him out. He has this metal shield, and he's standing in the lightning. So this is simply kind of like asking for it, really. So this is like the sky here is saying, hey dude, you need to cut it out. It's enough of this. You kind of like shouldn't be going there. It is like a card that is warning, and this is kind of telling me over here, and this is telling me over here that maybe you got disappointed in love so much that you think that you want to do everything yourself, and you are maybe closing yourself on help of the other people. Maybe you are not as social as you should be. So be very careful of this also, because this could be also the person who is trying to push down your throat things and issues that he or she wants. Remember, like this could be the person that you need to challenge, because you need to kind of come to your own strength. You come to kind of like your things, right? So the choice of partners, and that's why we saw something will go down before it goes up, is resolving these issues, resolving what was the barrier. Maybe somebody was just what they call a Klingon, somebody clinging on you and trying to get everything that you can give it to them. Maybe you got so hardened with life that you being Pisces, you want, and you kind of like crave this love, but you closed your doors. You kind of like, you isolate yourself, and by isolating yourself, the others kind of like left you out. So this can all change, because the rest is really, really good. Now we are getting to this house 8, which is shared resources and sex, death, letting go, regeneration, other people's money, right? So you are having this magician, and in this deck we don't have reverse. You simply have just like a different take on it, right? So here he is missing this shooting star, right? But here he has this like tree of life, meaning he kind of like sees this enormous potential. He's saying, you know what, I can rebuild myself just like this. Here you're walking into somebody else's power, and maybe this power is much stronger than we are. So this is what I'm saying. Maybe choice of your partner was not the best one, but here finally you're getting your head screwed up back and saying, I can create what I need. I have to just trust myself. This is the creation of that strength, guys. This is like understanding and knowing that you have the tools, because look, he does have the wand, the passion, and he also have the cups. So you do actually wake up to who you really want to be. The house number 9 is philosophy, publishing, travel, law. You might meet a stranger this year. You might meet a stranger on the sandy beaches, or you might participate in some kind of celebrations where family usually celebrate. Could be picnics, you know, could be that you're invited to somebody's Thanksgiving or whatever the holidays you have in your country. This is the card that says coming to terms, being accepted, right? Because from the traditional take of this card, where it's talking about longevity, we still have these walls. But look, these walls are not there anymore. You guys managed to shred them. And these two cards and this absolutely tells me that you're moving to the next level. You guys will win. You guys will win. So this particular card here, 10 of Pentacles, is talking about merging together. 10 of Pentacles is not so much about love, but it's about foundation. It's like when love meets money. So that's why this talks about marriages. This is why it's talking about inheritances, about the long term. And here it looks like, you know, these two people are coming to be accepted into kind of new thing. So it could be you, it could be him, that somebody is kind of like coming into a bigger family. But this can also have just a simple greater meaning that you are now a new person, because this is a number 10, and you have a number 10, you have a number 1, and you have the world. For you guys, it's a switching year. Remember what I said, this is a year number 11. If you do your homework, and I'm telling you this homework for you is like simply self-esteem and strength, and kind of like still you can stay being sweet, even though you're going to blow the lid at one point, which is just fine. But you will still insist and redefine who you are and what you need in your life. So your choices and the people you attract are all of a sudden going to change. And you're going to prepare yourself to be a wife or a husband. Because even though this is a Queen of Pentacles, if you're a woman, this Queen of Pentacles is saying, yay, you know, I stand where I'm kind of like really solid, and I want to become married. If you're a guy, you're going to kind of like really understand what different people bring to the table, especially in the family. Now we are coming to the house number 10, and this is career, status, vocational purpose, taking power. You're not going to have that much problem there. You will be able to give your offerings, and you're going to have plenty of offerings. But Safi was assisting over here, and the first card that came out here is enemy. You guys, this really describes really well, and thank you, Safi, for helping, fundamental issues that maybe you have been facing so far. You're so giving, you're loving, you kind of like give yourself, like honestly, innocently, because look, she's basically practically naked. There's like only tiny, like, I mean, thin veil over here. But then, you know, people kind of like maybe backstab you, wait for you for under a corner for something for you to misstep. And the second card was like falseness, where we see this like perpetual thing, like a snake, just basically generally both of these cards are representing kind of like different side of the issues, right? And we can be either of them, we can be both of them, and neither of them. So it is basically saying that you really have to figure out who are the people who are in your life who are fake, who are enemies, who are not enemies, and not to give the offers to them. Because you are sending this to universe, this message, hey, I'm not worthy. And looks like you're going to pass this lesson with flying colors because you're getting the world card. And world card means, yay, job is well done. You actually conquered this lesson because this is falling now in the 11th house of your friendships, of groups, goals, and aspirations. And world is like earth, basically flavor, earth sign flavor, because this is pretty much how you started. My camera is getting crazy. Sorry about that. I'm moving too much. So this is how you started. You kind of like almost dedicate yourself. I want to do this. And you were going first down. You were first clearing these issues. And then it looks like your friends will be there to help you. Especially, guys, if you have fixed signs in your life. Because the earth, the world card is like always embraced with Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio, that is represented with Phoenix over here, but really highly refined Scorpios, right? Not the ones that keep you down, but the ones that are lifting you up. Remember, like, you have to have this crown chakra, and she has this color, right, that is kind of pushing you up, pushing you to open up. So this is the essential card of success. Not, and for you, I think it's going to be on many levels. You're going to resolve work issues. You're going to realize that you cannot do everything on your own, that you have to start engaging with other people. You maybe are going to close yourself in for trying to get, to basically be pushed to the rock bottom. I'm actually really surprised you didn't get the tower. But, spending some time alone and thinking about issues will really make you realize that you try to do everything yourself. And that literally by doing this, you're closing these walls more and more in. Actually, the opposite is true, that you have to do it. And so this is the house number 10, which is your I dream house, your spiritual life house, right? But this also talks about solitude, and it talks institutions and possible self-sabotage. And you're getting the Emperor. And it's saying, hey, it's really cool. It's like very much like this guy here. Now he finished his battle. He's challenging this. He thinks he's so much superior to the nature. Maybe somehow he survives and comes to the Emperor that he's trying to emulate, right? But the Emperor is saying, sometimes I feel like I'm too stuck. I have to kind of see the day, because you see here he's seeing the night. But here I need to see the daylight. I need to be kind of looking forward to it. And I need to kind of like experience more of my soul, because this is the sign for sulfur, which basically in alchemy means soul. And you did have this alchemical card, the patience, the temperance, in a general reading. So this is simply saying, look, you need to put some kind of fire under your bed and start moving. So we did see that movement is going to happen at some point in this. Also, both of these cards can mean blowing your lid. But this one, to some extent, that you are establishing a new kingdom. The Emperor is always asking, hey, what kind of person you want to be? But when it's in this position, is asking even more. It's saying what kind of person you want to be and what kind of people you want to be associated with. So guys, overall, some of you might separate and experience huge heartache and hardship. Just that as soon as you kind of like go into that and start closing your walls and collapsing, you're going to become rebellious. You're going to become this lion, a roaring lion, and getting out of this camel's back and going to say, no, I am not lying down. I am taking this, and if I have to go, I'll go down fighting. And then you're waking up. And you're waking up, and everything happens for you so quick. And it's like unity with, maybe it could be even reunion with somebody whom it didn't work, or it can be just completely new person that is just going to be just somebody you really want to become, this like Queen of Pentacles. And most likely this is going to happen in the last quarter. So remember, for you guys, the key is exercising your strength and taking rest and relaxation, lots of R&R time. So the next, let's check Lenormand. And with Lenormand, we can kind of like see different aspects that maybe will be coming your way. So let's go from there. Okay, Pisces, so let's check it out. This is actually a very, very interesting Lenormand. And I think it summarizes quite a few things that I was talking about in the previous kind of spreads. So as you can see, here we have a lady, and lady is talking, it's just simply one significator. It could be you ladies, it could be a gentleman. Gentleman is here. So both of them can be you, or this can be just like you coming to the partner, right? It's kind of really interesting. There are like two different sides of your Lenormand. And it literally really tells me about the work that needs to be done over the year to get there. It's a long path, but path is there nonetheless. And I actually do see that. I'm going to give you general messages that I see here. I do see actually maybe that is somebody from the past. It's going to be dating. It's going to be definitely intention to settle down. It is definitely moving forward kind of motion. It is also something that you want to do that is kind of like restoring your faith in you and your own beliefs. So again, this is kind of that strength that I see kind of permeating here as well. But I also see that you're becoming wiser this time around. It's like not simply kind of shooting in the dark and trying to see where you land, what you land. You're going to really try to detect which are the items that are minimizing you, which are the items that kind of like nagging you. Maybe you are the nag. Maybe somebody's nagging you. Maybe it's just simply not the right fit, right? Because check this out. In the middle of your reading, you have the clover, the tree, the cross, and the bear. So the clover always talks about luck, but it's not a big luck. This is what the bouquet is for. Clover is like everyday luck, sort of like you get a break, you know, like what was that song? When you need a spoon, all you get when you need a spoon, you get 1,000 forks or something like that, right? Alanis Morissette, right? So, but this tells me that when it comes to some kind of government issues, when it comes to where you are, where you live, you might actually move. Because I think where you live just became a path that you no longer wish to follow. You're cutting this path, right? Because you have the house and the sickle here. And it is something that is kind of like really burdensome for you. And this is that kind of wisdom, those kind of like moments that you're going to have in your own and kind of like try to study different things. And in fact, this, if you move, whatever the reason for moving is, you're going to get into some kind of understanding that something else, something new is a long term. And it could be a long financial term as well. So this is here talking about, this is the house of the garden, and this the cross is in the mountain. So I think this is literally you need to overcome the mountain in 2018. And the mountain is you, Pisces. Is the mountain is like not, sure, you will eliminate other people, you will eliminate some ways in your life. Some of you might even have impossible children and or siblings to deal with who are creating lots of problems, especially when it comes to your choice of your partners and how you go about that. Because look at this cross, which is in the house of the mountain, is right next to the ring. So this is literally saying fate is standing in the way. And when this happens, and here you have the snake again in this particular thing, you might be going on some kind of journey this year. It might be exact physical journey. For some of you it can be nearby, for some of you could be like long distance journey. Or others of you might have somebody who's going to be very tempting, who is, I guess, long distance or from overseas. And you see, some things are just going to click. All of a sudden I see the letter, the locket, the sun, and the ship. Things are just going to start manifesting out of nowhere, out of thin air. And this is like that essence of the bouquet. And this is like rotating around us Faith or Karma card over here. Now, it is like all good. It seems to be the trajectory is all good. It seems to be the trajectory is that you will reunite with somebody from the past. The clouds will clear. Like whatever was happening with this person, maybe it's going to be a healthy relationship, because you see the mountain knighting the tree here, and the tree is yet knighting a letter. So it's going to be a lots of heart-to-heart conversations and kind of like moving in a better direction. So you're going to build a better you, who you are, and start moving forward and dealing with all these nagging issues. And when you do, then things kind of start to work out. You get the sun. You get this, like, finally things are getting lifted off, and finally you can kind of like move forward. So gentleman is in the house of the stars, which kind of like is in the latest trajectory. So this is general reading still, even though for a lesser amount of people, so the energies are really stronger over here. So you have to find the strength of anybody who is in your way, because these are people who are deceptive, who kind of are too clever for their own good, and you may be dating a completely wrong person. And this is going to become complete realization, because look at this, the garden is my dating card and is coming to the grave, right? So you're going to figure out that maybe you're allowing people to see you, maybe just as a sex object. Maybe you have been suffering in relationships, and now you're kind of lifting out of it. And it's not going to be as easy as we saw it there, because that inner strength is difficult to get. But you know what, you're saying, you know what, I'm a loyal person, and one person I haven't been loyal to is me. And you're going to really have the strong dedication toward yourself. So lastly, Pisces, to seal the reading, let's pull a few cards from my 2 oracle decks and see what additional messages we get for you for 2018, because I have no doubt that is going to be a very good year for you. You're going to get to this literally things that you really want, but only after you think that you're not going to, or maybe that something just falls completely apart. So see, Pisces 2018. Pisces. Pisces 2018. Ooh, it's too many. I have the balancing act, but I will leave this one because it was a top card, and this is like this year of number 11. It's literally telling me, you guys, it's up to you. You want to do it, you do the work, you get this rewards. You don't want to do it, it's going to continue until you do it. It's just like simple as that. Pisces, 2018. Okay, this one really wanted to speak, and it's by the book. Okay, so which one do I tackle first? Let's go with balancing act. Oh my gosh, they're both 11. Look, 11 and 11. I'm having goosebumps right now. You're literally going to ride this 11 way, and because you're 12 sign, like, which is supposed to be the most spiritual, I think this is why this is hitting you. This is the reason, right, Safi? So let's see this balancing act here first. It says, you're calm within no matter the fluctuations of outer conditions. There are times when things seem a bit topsy-turvy and it feels as if you're juggling 1,000 balls in the air. Perhaps you're unsure of your footing. Now it's the moment to evaluate which areas of your life need balance and then restore equilibrium. Choose harmony over discord, and great success will be yours. You'll find inner stability when you choose a balanced, focused, and level path. So yeah, that pretty much goes back to my explanation for the year number 11. And let's see by the book. 11 again. It says, the universe works within a structure of divine laws and principles that provides a framework for human experience and evolution. The law of abundance, the law of prayer, The law of karma, the law of attraction, the law of thought, the law of compensation, and the law of nature are only a few that are known. These principles create perfect order and operate with a kind of precision beyond human understanding. Even revolution has its place in universal law. Human beings, in turn, have their own laws and customs that vary from culture to culture and family to family. Laws keep social order and govern behavior, reflecting an instinctive understanding that harmony is important. This is a time to learn these laws and conform to them, rather than being the rebel and flouting them. When this card appears, submit to structure and follow the rules even if they seem to make no sense. Release resistance, for universal laws will correct any disharmony. Open your eyes to those universal laws, and it will be easier to go by the book at this time. This one has also a relationship message, so I'm going to read this one for you as well. It says, getting along with others entails understanding and respecting who they have become as a result of their environment, their culture, and their experience. Find a middle ground that allows the relationship to flourish while honoring the individuality of the other person. Play things by the book instead of trying to break the rules or pressure others to conform to the way you want to do them. Your connection will deepen as a result. I guys totally see how all of that kind of like all these kind of like roads go to Rome for you. It simply, things for you do not happen by hook or by crook. For you, it happened by doing this inner work, kind of like putting this kind of solidifying yourself in who you are. And only then this kind of gates start to open, because it's kind of weird. People sniff up this neediness, and the neediness is always a result of a lack of something that we kind of like need. By finding that space inside of ourselves, all of a sudden everything else opens up. So Pisces, thank you very much for your order. I really appreciate you being my patron. And until the next time, please check my channel or visit my website for any of the private reading options. Thank you, and I love you.